Hello again, I'm back for another update. I'm back in Shawvers Run Wilderness again, different area. That's Potts Mountain, and I'm on the ridge line that connects Little Mountain with Potts as part of the wilderness area. I didn't make it all the way to Potts. I was hoping to, but I got off to too late of a start. But this is a ridge line that that connects up with Potts Mountain and bridges the valley here. There is a bit of a trail that follows the ridge. That's looking north toward Covington. And the ridge line follows that direction to Potts Mountain, which is in the background. And I'm heading back. I'm going to be picked up when I get to the bottom of this. So I got dropped off because I would not have had time to get here from home. I started too late. A big bird flying around up there. I don't know what it is, but it's big, whatever it is. And I came out today because it is a beautiful day. It is well up in the 50s today. It is a little windy at times, but the warm-up has arrived here locally. It was down in the 20s last night, and warmer air moved in overnight. And it was already 40 this morning. This is that little trail that follows this ridge line in the wilderness area. It is not an official trail, but it's overgrown, but it is navigable for most of it. But if I wanted to make it all the way to Potts Mountain, yeah, I'd have to leave earlier. I did make it halfway across the valley on this ridge, approximately. And yeah, this trail kind of peters out once you get to the top of this rise here. You gotta basically chart your own way after that, or navigate your own way back down. And this next rise is the summit of Little Mountain. You're on the north side of the gap that I pointed out 2 videos ago where I saw the buck. This is the north side of that gap. So I'm heading to the top of this next rise before I start down the other side. And what I'm going to talk about today is this warm-up in the eastern U.S. I've talked a lot about MJO manipulation. And what is MJO manipulation? Again, it's satellite technology being used to enhance convection to cause the MJO to go into and remain in the warmer phases for the U.S. for lengthy periods of time. What is the MJO? It's an area of convection called, MJO stands for Madden-Julian oscillation. It stands for the Intertropical Convergence Zone. Has convection around the equator, or that forms a ring around the entire globe, and Madden-Julian oscillation goes into phases when certain areas have more convection than other areas do. This, according to theory, influences the jet stream to take a certain position depending on what phase the MJO is in, and it has 8 different phases. And there are certain phases that bring warmer weather to the U.S. or certain parts of the U.S., and there are other phases that cause the jet stream to take a position that brings colder weather to the U.S. and North America. Because the U.S. and North America cover a very minuscule percentage of the globe. And the oceans cover 71% of the Earth. So it's very easy to manipulate the MJO because all you have to do is enhance convection in certain areas that favor warmer weather for the U.S. And I had predicted that around December 1st, potentially a milder pattern would arrive in the U.S. in anticipation of the manipulation of the MJO. Beginning around December 1st, I predicted it would begin to happen, and I was a week late. Today is December 8th, and we're suddenly thrust into a warm pattern. And I saw it coming as I saw the MJO going into phase 4. I was looking at the images. I could see that for now they are being successful in enhancing convection to develop in the warmer areas. Why do they wait until December 1st? Because I'm even thinking this morning it came a week late because they were hoping for a December hurricane. They didn't really start. They were hoping the hurricane season would extend into December this year, so they didn't really start in earnest manipulating the MJO until a little bit after December 1st, and you could see there was no other storms coming. That they started. I know this sounds far-fetched what I'm saying, but I look at the images. I know that the convection right now occurring in these regions is not entirely natural. I could see the streamers, like a constant stream of energy is being directed in certain areas of this zone to force the MJO into a warmer phase for the U.S., which right now it's in phase 5. 4, I looked at the axis, it's centered on phase 5. With convection developing now in phase 6 as well, which is very warm for the eastern U.S. There are indications it may try to go into phase 7. That's iffy. Right now, if they keep being successful at manipulating this convection to stay in those zones I just mentioned, we're going to be in for another mild winter. We are still in the solar max as well. It was just recently an X2 flare out of a region in the southern hemisphere of the sun. So it's not, we're not out of the max yet. We're still in it. My prediction is we will be coming out of it within the next 6 months. I could be wrong with that. I don't know everything there is about the sun. Why I say we'll be coming out of it in 6 months is because the northern hemisphere is already dying down. According to spaceweather.com, they had an article on there claiming that the northern hemisphere is going to catch up and this max is going to go on 2 more years. I feel that's BS. because the past 4 or 5 cycles, the southern hemisphere has lagged the northern hemisphere, meaning that the max ends after the southern hemisphere activity peaks out. The northern hemisphere dies out first before the southern does. According to spaceweather.com, that's not going to happen with this cycle. They claim the northern hemisphere is going to wake up again and catch up with the southern hemisphere. Well, they acknowledge that the last 4 months in that article, the southern hemisphere has had most of the activity. And that is true. Well, what that indicates is the max is starting to wind down. It means the northern hemisphere has already peaked out, and that occurred in March of 2023. And I feel a secondary peak for the southern hemisphere happened in August of 2024, when the sunspot count got up over 200 for that month. The only month of the cycle so far that it has. So we do have natural things that are going to mitigate at least a little bit this MJO manipulation. They're not going to be as successful with it this year. And there is a cool down coming, at least temporarily, next week. But it remains to be seen, again, how long that cool down is going to last. It depends on if the MJO gets into phase 7, despite their efforts or not. But there is definitely manipulation going on. Is why the weather has warmed up. But during the hurricane season, they try to get the MJO into more phase 3 or 2, because that puts a trough over the eastern U.S. that makes landfalling hurricanes more likely to occur. They get attracted to that trough, sucked up in that direction to hit the U.S. But usually, lately, it's been around December 1st. The strategy changes from hurricane hits, because you can't have MJO in warmer phases of the U.S. That puts a high pressure over areas that would block hurricanes. Look at this huge blowdown coming up. Right on the ridge line. Yeah, I'll try to find my way around this thing. This is huge. It looks like the wildlife. I can faintly see where wildlife has gone to get around it. So how this winter plays out is going to depend on how successful they are in keeping the MJO in those warmer phases. Will they be able to do it for the whole winter? It also depends on the mitigating factors that I described that would help mitigate this manipulation of the MJO. And of course, there's always a possibility they could run out of steam. But as long as they're manipulating and getting convection in these areas, it's going to be hard to keep a cold pattern in the U.S. eastern part for very long. going, as it will always revert back to the warm pattern that we're seeing today. For example, after a day or two. Now, with Trump coming into office, it remains to be seen if he will do something about this to stop it, because he feels that climate change, he accurately feels, it's a hoax. In terms of man-made climate change in general naturally occurs all the time. It remains to be seen what he's going to do, if anything, about this whole agenda. If he's going to try to stop it or not. He's not in office yet, so I don't anticipate any changes in that until at least the end of the winter, even if something is done by him. Alright, so I've reached this summit here, and from here, basically charting my way back out to the road. To the wilderness area, there are no well-defined trails. So, it's going to be pure navigation. To get out to the road where I am supposed to be picked up. I'm not far from the house, maybe just a few miles, but I got dropped off and picked up just to save some time. I got off again. I could have walked here from the house, but yeah, it's the time I even got to the foot base of the mountain, it would have been time to turn back. There's another blowdown. That looked like it was from the hurricane or Helene. It wasn't really a hurricane, but at least not here. But so yeah, I'm gonna start my descent. I'm up probably 3,500 feet in elevation right here. So just over 1,000 meters. And the valley is about 1,800 in elevation, so yeah, it's got about almost 2,000 foot descent. 1,800 feet. That's how much I climbed to get up here. Again, turn around 3 o'clock because, yeah, there's no trails. Another huge flood. Likely from the tropical system that moves through. That tree was huge. Diverting myself a bit direction to get around it. So will we have a white Christmas in the east? Well, I hate to say it, I doubt it. Not where the MJO is sitting right now. But I will be back with another update soon. I mean, I haven't totally lost hope on that, but yeah. it's going to be a tough one this year. The only reason we got lucky with this cold weather for the first week of December is, again, they were a little delayed in manipulating that MJO by a week, because they were hoping for a December hurricane, is my guess. It's only a guess. I mean, I could be wrong. But what I don't feel I'm wrong about is there is manipulation going on. Not just with hurricanes, but manipulation of the winter weather pattern to promote an agenda to people, because if we have another snowless winter in the east, people are really going to be wondering if it's ever going to snow again. Again, the good news is we have an administration taking over that shares my sentiments on this matter. And so maybe, just maybe, something will be done about what's been going on. Yeah, I'm not banking on it, but you never know. I'm now starting down off the summit here. It's pretty rocky. There's a lot of leaves on the ground, so the rocks are hidden. And that is why I turned around when I did, because it's definitely not an easy climb, and it's not going to be an easy descent either. Sign of the ridge right there. And my house is straight ahead in that direction, down that valley. So that is going to be it. I'm going to focus now on getting down safely off this mountain here. Are getting overcast. No rain expected though until tomorrow. But the clouds are already starting to move in. So that's going to be it. I'll be back soon.